Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the 2024 MLB Trade Deadline is almost here. Just one day to go, and it's the last chance for contenders to really reinforce their roster, make a deep run, and an opportunity for rebuilders out there to cash in. Again, that trade deadline scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, July 30th. Let's welcome in our MLB insider, Jim Bowden, to talk about all the buzz that is still out there ahead of the trade deadline. And when we're thinking of starting pitchers, Jim, there are some big names that are still out there. Blake Snell, Garrett Crochet. But if you do want a starting pitcher, it's going to cost you, and there might be some weird trade requests that are being thrown in this go-around as well, Jim.
Yeah, I've never seen a seller's market like this ever at the trade deadline. It's amazing that even relievers are getting two top pitching prospects, like the Phillies' acquisition of Carlos Estevez from the Angels, and gave up two top young starting pitchers. So the price is huge, and it's so big that the Tigers basically have decided not to trade Tarik Skubal. Now, that doesn't mean someone can't come at the last minute and make an offer to overwhelm them. But at this hour, it sounds like he's not going to be traded because people don't want to reach the price they're asking for. Blake Snell, the Giants put him on the market on Thursday, and then they've won 4 games in a row, and now they're only 3.5 games out of the playoffs, and now it's unlikely they trade him. And Garrett Crochet's agents from CAA came out and said that he will not pitch in October in the playoffs and World Series if some team trades for him, unless they're willing to give him a long-term contract at the time of the trade, which now makes it really hard to trade him as well. But that being said, I have heard that both the Dodgers and the Braves still have interest in Crochet, so stand by on that one. Now, the starting pitchers that we know are going to get traded or think are going to get traded are the next level guys, and that's Jack Flaherty of the Tigers, that's Eric Fedde of the White Sox, and Yusei Kikuchi, I say Kikuchi, Yusei Kikuchi of the Blue Jays. It sounds like they're all going to go, but the asking price even for them is huge. We're talking about 3 top 20 prospects to get any one of them, which is really almost ridiculous, but it's a seller's market, and it's been fun to watch.
So we're going to keep an eye on Garrett Crochet. And, of course, that brings us to the White Sox, who have those pieces like him available. You said potentially the Dodgers and the Braves are still interested. But they have been pretty quiet down to the wire here. So, Jim, what are you hearing about some moves that they could be making there in the south side of Chicago over the next 24 hours or so in terms of Crochet and other guys?
Yeah, so Chris Getz, the GM, who is working in concert with the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, they believe that their best offers are going to come on trade deadline day, and they've got 5 guys that they're trying to move. Pitchers Garrett Crochet, Eric Fedde, and Michael Kopech, and outfielders Lewis Robert and Tommy Pham. Now, I'm not saying all 5 are going to go, but I do think at least 3 of the 5 will get dealt by the deadline. They're hoping better offers come between now and tomorrow. But the interesting team for me to watch are the Dodgers. I talked to their general manager, Brandon Gomes, on Sunday. I asked him what the Dodgers were looking to do, and his response back was impact. Well, that's the same thing they told me before they got Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinori Yamamoto and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. So impact could be Garrett Crochet and Lewis Robert. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, the White Sox as a seller and the Dodgers as a buyer have been really oddly quiet, and I'm expecting that's the lull before the storm.
Okay, if impact means Shohei Ohtani-like moves, I'm like waiting on the edge of my seat there for the Dodgers. We already mentioned Blake Snell. What the Giants are going to do, they just swept the Rockies, which maybe isn't the hardest thing to do, but regardless, they were 3.5 games outside of a wild card spot. So are they for sure going to be sellers, or what's the latest that you're hearing with the Giants there, Jim?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to trade Snell. I don't. I think the fact that they're only 3.5 games out, and keep in mind they just got Robbie Ray off the injured list. He's a previous Cy Young Award winner. They're expecting to get Alex Cobb off as well. And the way Snell is pitching, he looks just like the Cy Young Award winner we saw last year. That's a game changer for the Giants. So I don't think they're going to quote-unquote be sellers. That being said, that doesn't mean they won't trade Mike Yastrzemski or Wilmer Flores or Michael Conforto. They have shopped those 3 guys, but they would be looking at it more like the Cubs are, which is kind of in between buying and selling. If they can make a move that helps them in future years, they're open to that. But I don't think they're going to throw in the towel this year. I think the fact they won 4 in a row is going to change what they actually do in the deadline, and I think it's more likely Snell now stays and goes.
So a team that we've already seen make some moves, that is the Marlins, dealing Jazz Chisholm to the New York Yankees, and they might not be done selling just yet. Jim, you're also hearing that the Marlins are close to trading their reliever Tanner Scott. What more can you tell us about what that market looks like for him at this point?
Yeah, it looked like the deal was going to get done. A deal was going to get done Sunday night or early this morning, and then another team kind of jumped into the fray. Tanner Scott is the best closer available on the market. Kyle Finnegan of the Nationals is probably the second best. But what I'm being told, and this comes within the last hour, is the teams that are in the lead right now to get Scott are mostly American League East teams. That's the Orioles, the Yankees, and the Red Sox, with the Royals being that fourth team. But they appear to be the four finalists. Now, there's other teams in there. Someone could jump in and make another offer. I mean, that's why you wait to the deadline. You never know what someone's going to do. But all indications are he's probably going to end up with one of those AL East teams. And don't sleep on the Orioles, right? Because they haven't really traded from their prospect group outside of the deal that brought them Zach Eflin. So if the Orioles aren't able to get one of those big starting pitchers they're looking for, I wouldn't be surprised if they give up significant prospects and end up landing Scott.
Well, we've talked about some of the best prospects out there, of course. Randy Arozarena, he was on the board. Now he's in Seattle. Jazz, as mentioned, is with the New York Yankees. With those guys out of the conversation, who are the best bats that are still out there and available, Jim?
Yeah, it's a great question here because it's kind of a thin market, right? You have the White Sox, Lewis Robert, but there's no guarantee they're going to actually trade Robert. Although I will tell you, both the Phillies and the Braves would love to be able to get their hands on him and have been talking to acquire them, but he also could stay. Now, Yandy Diaz of Tampa Bay, sounds like he's going to go. You've got the Seattle Mariners and Houston Astros are two of the teams that are in on him. The Cubs have also been mentioned. Brent Rooker, more likely that he stays than goes, but the Red Sox have been connected with him, as have the Mariners. Then you've got second baseman Brandon Lau of the Rays. They're in the middle of selling, and they're not done. And I think one of the most underrated players is Renifo of the Angels. Louis is one of the most underrated infielders in this game. I think be a really good pickup for someone looking for an upgrade at second base. The Nationals are trying to move outfielder Lane Thomas, who crushes left-handed pitching. He just can't hit right-hand pitching. The Reds are trying to move Jonathan India. The Yankees have some interest in him. They're trying to trade him because they have Matt McClain ready to get off the IL, and they want to put him at second base. Taylor Ward of the Angels has been talked about, and Mark Canha could also get moved again. The Tiger first baseman DH is someone the Red Sox are looking for because they really want to get a right-hand hitting first baseman outfield DH type, and Canha and Rooker kind of fit that mold of what they're looking for.
Man, if the Yankees get Jazz and Jonathan India, it's just the rich getting richer, Jim. Jim Bowden joining us here on HQ, getting us ready for that trade deadline. Again, that's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hang tight. We have more from Jim to come in just a moment, but that MLB Trade Deadline preview coming your way right here on CBS Sports HQ, hosted by our very own Amanda Guerra. That's right here on HQ, 5:30 p.m. Eastern.